So we discussed a number of things, and a few of the topics we'll be continuing discussing this evening. We had 3 applicants for the 2 vacant positions on the commission. We interviewed and discussed the vacancies with those 3 applicants. We had selected 2 of the applicants who have joined us this evening that we're very excited about. We discussed finalizing the EDC bylaws, which is one of the topics we'll continue and do the bulk of this evening. We discussed some subcommittee specifics, as well as our work plan for the next year, which we'll discuss this evening as well, but we'll kind of tailor it timeline wise. We won't go as far out in the year likely. And that was about it. We wrapped up. Most of our time was spent on the interview and selection process. Any questions, go backs on last month's meeting minutes?
Make the motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor of approving last month's meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. The record reflect we have unanimous approval of last month's meeting minutes, February 2024. We'll go ahead and move into some unfinished business. Technically, we don't have any new business this evening. We're just continuing, like I mentioned, the finalization of the EDC bylaws, as well as working through our work plan and roadmap for the next 6 months. We figured this would be a good starting point for our new members as well, because we'll be able to discuss some of the things we'll focus on in the next 6 months, as well as finalize our bylaws meeting, operating rhythm, cadence in which we meet, specifics on how the commission will operate and whatnot. So we'll get all that buttoned up first before we move into the work plan and roadmap. Before we dive in, Bill, is there a way you can pull up the bylaws visually in the room so we can take a look as we go?
There should be. That's what I'm working on. Having trouble doing it at the moment, but I'm working at it. So I'll let you know.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and pull up what I have and try to verbalize it as best as possible for those who aren't able to see it quite yet. So the articles, the bylaws are broken out into different articles. We've discussed most of those, the first being the name, which is the Economic Development Commission. We approved that pretty quickly. Purpose and duties is Article 2, and we, I believe, solidified for the most part all of those specifics, both pertaining to the purposes and then the duties. We had 11 separate duties that we planned to work towards. Article 3 is membership, consisting of number of members, some of the parameters about becoming a member of the commission. And then section 2 of that membership article is where we had our first discussion or question, and that was surrounding the attendance at city council meetings. So I'll read out loud section 2. During a regularly scheduled Economic Development Commission meeting, the chair or the chair's designee shall appoint a member to report back to the North Carolina City Council on a quarterly basis. The purpose of the report, written, verbal, or both, will be to communicate to the city council projects and matters before.
So I tried both. It's just
So really, we're just trying to establish a connection with city council, update them on what we're working on, the progress we have made, and really just establish a cleaner form of communication with them. A note on that topic, we discussed whether it could be a written report If it needed to be in person, we would likely look at assigning some type of rotation chart on who can attend which meeting for the report out. So I think we're looking to nail down, that's our first item we're looking to nail down in terms of some of the specifics. The verbiage around written, verbal, or both was added after our discussion a couple months ago by Bill. So he's ultimately looking to our plan if we want to make it written, verbal, and I think we can also discuss the cadence. If there needs to be a quarterly discussion, since we have the mayor in the room too, I would like to lean on her and get her insight on what she feels the city council would benefit from in terms of report out from the EDC, what type of communication, how consistent the communication the council would like to see, just to not overbear anyone, but still have consistent report outs.
Yes, no, I read through the bylaws and, thank you for that. Section 2 of your bylaws actually being, you're being very proactive, which is amazing. We have, historically, we don't have that currently. It's usually a city councilor or myself will be the ex officio at the meeting. And then we report back at the city council meeting during council reports, right? So I don't necessarily want it to be, redundant or that sort of thing. But I think it's important to have the Economic Development Commission be a part of the council meeting in some fashion and give a general report, on what you're working on. And quarterly, we could, I think, quarterly would be great if you're being active, right? Like if there's something that you're all are working on. But if it's, if it's quiet, totally understand that. But if as we move forward, in the future, I think the economic development, the EDC is going to be extremely important, especially after UTB expansion, when we go through that process. And so it's going to be really important for us to have, we can have a great council perspective on that, but you all might be taking a much deeper dive, and I know I would appreciate more details, like, okay, what did that sound like? What was that about? How did they go about this? And that sort of thing. So I like that section of your bylaws. I think it's really great. And I think it just lends itself more to participation, right? Collaborative effort, communication, and involvement, right? More definitely. So I like it, and I think that I would leave it at your discretion. If you put it in there quarterly, great, right? But if nothing's happened, then you can just report that to the city recorder and say, hey, we really don't have anything to report on this quarter, not a problem, right? And so it gives you some flexibility there.
And to be transparent, some of this is stemming from ex officio attendance has not always been incredibly consistent, and so it would be great for us to be proactive, to your point, of maintaining that connection in case there is absences or things we would love insight on that we aren't able to just do the schedules and things like that.
Yeah, I think that's really important. It's a good point, really good point that you made. And knowing that we are in an election year, and we have 4 seats up this year. It could be a transformational change, right? And so having this body be very engaged in the city and the process and what we're going through and what we're dealing with and the future and all that sort of thing. I mean, it might be really beneficial to have have that, and that's certainly something that, after I read that, I thought, well, maybe we should consider that with the other commissions and because it gets people involved, right? And it's so important to have people, be engaged in the conversation, right? So I hear it, I hear that. And so if there's something that we as a council could be doing differently to assist you, bring that up as well.
So the other commissions right now don't have a quarterly report, as they just kind of, no.
No, it's the ex officio, it's the responsibility of the city councilor or mayor to be at a city meeting and to be the ex officio, and then we report back to the council, hey, we talked about X, right? Or they talked about X,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I like your approach in that you want to be more engaged, and I think that's a great
Mhm.
suggestion. I really do. I like that.
Some might say, the term trailblazers have been thrown around. Trendsetters, but ultimately, we're just trying to be innovative around here.
I'm gonna have to talk to Tony about that, because I think every year they sort of have like a trailblazer award, which I got one this year. So maybe the EDC could be up for nomination.
Maybe.
I mean, you get a free wine, when we think about it. I'm kidding.
Oh, my God. Fun suggestion I have around this item. I think it's good. I think it kind of goes hand in hand with what we're gonna work on later on tonight too, which is our plans. Looking at the length of like what we want to do as far as like strategic planning and how far out we want to go. I think it should coincide with when we're reporting back to city council, because it should be, hey, here's our next 6-month plan. Here's what we're gonna be working on. This is what we're gonna be doing. And then we go back and if we're gonna make the plan quarterly, 6 months, a year, I think the reporting back to city council should coincide with that strategic plan for the council.
Well, Chris, great, because I think it's also really important, to look at the council goals, right? And take those goals, and I know that we're gonna have a session, a retreat, I believe in April. And look at the goals that we've established for the city council. Where, basically look at like, what have we done and where are we? And then where are we going? And we may have to alter those a bit, but it would be really, I think, maybe it would be helpful for this group to look at those city council goals and see how you can align some of your goals with the city council goals so that we can all be on the same page, we're all on the same team, right? And that would be awesome. And I think that would be a great, it could potentially be a good baseline too for like the parks and planning commission as well. I know the planning commission is working on some things as well, so.
Any feedback on this side of the room in terms of cadence of when we would be reporting out or any of those specific?
I agree, quarterly
Yeah.
sounds reasonable.
That
Stick
would-
with quarterly, I think.
consensus? Did we get consensus?
Is there anyone who doesn't?
If so, the door's right now. Or if there's feedback on whether the report outs are written or verbal or both. I think the option of both. Yeah, I think options is good. But technically, if we did it or, it's or.
Yeah, we need to make sure it says for.
Lori, for my own knowledge, do we need a consensus of voted?
Well, it is
consensus
the
for-
bylaws, so you guys really should have consensus.
Well, we want to approve or vote the bylaws at the very end as a whole.
You can do it that way as well.
Perfect, let's do that. Okay, we'll save it till the end. So which ultimately means if someone does have any, issues with specific items or concerns,
Please share.
yeah, please elevate as we go through. Don't save until the end. Okay, great. Anything before we move forward from section 2? Bill, could you remind me the highlighted items or items that have been adjusted based on our feedback?
The highlighted items are where let me just double check that to make sure. Highlighted items are actually, you've discussed some before at prior meeting January, but really highlighted items are ones where you as a body get to choose what the rule is, as opposed to everything in bold face, which is pulled right from the ordinance that council adopted. So on those things, you can ask council to change them, which would require ordinance to be adopted. But otherwise, yellow highlighted is where you all get to decide how to do things. And then, of course, any track changes, in red, that's where you all had kind of decided that you liked different language or added language.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So then section 3, officers, chair and vice chair will be elected by a majority vote of the Economic Development Commission. And I believe that's what we've already executed last month, as well as
Yeah.
kind of the consensus.
So now we can change the name to master and candidate.
Add a section 3.5. Section 4, duties of officers, the chair will be responsible for conducting the Economic Development Commission meetings and be the chief representative for the commission. The vice chair will act as chair in the event the chair is unable to fulfill duties.
Yes, no issue.
Tenure. Section 7, vacancies and removal. So, appointments by the mayor to fill vacancies shall be for the remainder of the unexpired term. A member may be recommended to city council for removal by the majority vote of the EDC if the member is absent from 3 consecutive meetings without a prior excuse submitted to the chair or the vice chair. Any member recommended to city council for removal from the commission can appeal the removal to the city council. And then note in the margins here, since this section takes up when and why the EDC specifically can seek removal of a member to the section. Also cite reasons for removal that include violation of law, city ordinance, open meetings law, etc. Lack of attendance is addressed, but does silence about all else, even if it's really obvious. Means some kind of qualified okay is not mentioned, whatever. So essentially the question of do we want to go in specifics on
Vague is good because vague opens up more. I mean.
Chair, I guess what I would say is at this point right now in section 7, the only reason cited in your rules that you would recommend to council for removal of a member would only be attendance problems. And the comment on the right, it gets into weeds. I think perhaps what I would suggest you consider is adding language, something along the lines of, let me see here. A member may be recommended to city council for removal by majority vote of the EDC if member is absent for 3 consecutive meetings without a prior excuse submitted to the chair or vice chair, or a violation or I guess I'm just asking maybe for like a clause or a qualifier there that gives you an opening. I mean, if it gives you an opening besides just they didn't show up.
Would almost like leave it, take out the absence, take out the other reasons and have it be more focused on the process of what the removal is than the reason why someone would go to the removal. I think this body can decide that in the moment if it's a reason big enough to go for the city council to remove, whereas like, yeah, attendance is one of those things, but I think if we all know like, hey, such and such is battling cancer right now, they're probably not gonna show up. 3 is not gonna be one of the reasons, 3 attendance. So I think focus more on like the process of how we remove someone than reasons why we would remove someone.
But although I'm going to argue that I think this is helpful for someone who is joining.
Yeah.
The committee or the commission to know upfront what specific things they're subject to as a member of the commission.
It was almost worth clarifying.
That's a good
Attendance guidelines. Do we have a code of conduct for committee members?
Obviously, we do not.
Since this is.
You.
Me?
Basically, Oregon, the code of conduct that you're subject to would be Oregon open meetings law, government, just public official ethics, that sort of thing. You all are, by the way, considered public officials from a government ethics standpoint, and we can do a training on that in all seriousness, because that does come with some things to understand. But and the mayor just asked the very good question of and I'm not familiar enough with the city charter to go and look specifically and cite something, but there might be something in the city charter that has to do with, generally speaking, with public official ethics. So I can look into that and come back with an answer. If you want to keep going through, I can look. Lori, are you familiar with anything just off the top of your head in the charter?
It's standard, like you said, public official and following Robert's Rules of Order. It's pretty standard across the board. It's nothing.
I mean, you could do something more general, like you just kind of, for violation of, city charter. You could you could throw in the violation of city charter by EDC bylaws, or or violation of pertinent state law or something like that, if you wanted. I guess all this is we are getting into the weeds a little bit. I didn't mean to do that, but I just want to make it clear that as written right now, the only thing you can send to city council for recommendation for removal is, strictly speaking, bad attendance. And that might be limiting, might be a little too specific, and it might be too limiting. I don't know.
Another question, do we list out what the appeal process is?
Great question. So basically, you all would recommend to city council to act on the recommendation that an individual, for whatever reason that you cite, reason or reasons, they remove from the Economic Development Commission. And by city ordinance, every single one of you serve at the pleasure of the mayor, and but with the approval of city council. And so the mayor and city council would take up the issue, and based on the merits of what the information, they would decide what to do. And at that opportunity, there would be I presume there would be opportunity for, and the mayor can speak on this, but that process might be opportunity for the person to answer questions or what have you.
Mm-hmm. I think in the charter, it's standard that you can appeal removal from a board or commission. She's trying to find it on her little tiny phone. I don't know. But yes, you can appeal. The process would probably, I'm guessing, I haven't looked at it for quite a while, would probably to be a written statement provided to council. They would review it and then probably have you come to a council meeting where it's a verbal discussion back and forth. It's all public. It wouldn't be, oh, I'm going to meet with the mayor one-on-one. That isn't how appeals work. So, but we can find that in the
As-
Charter somewhere.
Mr. Chairman, I think we cannot, also consider a language like this, a member can be removed if their behavior brings the EDC to district. You can also point in general in that way, so it would be for the body to decide what type of behavior will result in that kind of.
Yeah, right, okay.
That's not fun.
Yeah.
Keep it vague. Leave it up to the body to define what that means.
Yeah, I agree. I think the attendance piece is good because like you said, you want to set the expectation that we're here. But then also you need to leave the other part of it vague because there could be so many other reasons that we recommend. Like if I went to Portland tomorrow and was interviewed and was like, man, the city of North Plains is terrible, like should never do business there. You guys would probably be like, man, let's get Chris off this thing," because he's not in favor of economic development. So that's where we have to be vague to allow those instances that they occur to be able to remove someone.
Yeah, but I like David's point. So we can essentially keep the attendance guideline as well as a statement that kind of puts it back on the EDC to determine what is and is not
A violation.
a violation.
Yeah.
Nonsense, yeah.
Okay.
Just for general knowledge, I've been here 7.5 years and I just checked with the mayor. Nobody's ever been kicked off a board or commission.
Never say never.
Well, if I'm putting it out there, somebody, the presidents, so it's,
I don't anticipate us ever. We probably have spent way too much time talking about it because it won't ever happen. Keep rolling, but, Bill, in terms of if we do have feedback such as this, do you want us to like help capture them in any way?
Well, I mean,
See writing notes.
yeah, I mean, I'm writing notes so that I can just kind of pop it in there, but what I heard was something along the lines of unexcused attendance or actions deemed contrary to EDC goals or bylaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Wordsmith a little bit, yeah. That's the general deal.
So contrary to EDC goals or actions deemed contrary to EDC goals or bylaws or bylaws.
you don't want to include public. Or do you assume that they follow public meeting laws and so it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't looked at any of the others recently to see what they're saying, so.
Yeah. I think they'll be okay with that. Okay, so that's what I have for that one.
I think that rounds it out pretty well.
Yes.
Okay. Article 4, voting. Each member of the commission shall be entitled to one vote on all issues presented at regular and special meetings at which the member is present. An ex officio member shall not have a vote. I think that's pretty standard.
Yep.
On the items where there are any feedback and we're just going through the highlighted, I'm gonna roll through them pretty swiftly, so feel free to interject if there are any items you want to discuss. Article 5, meetings. So regular meetings, commission shall meet on a monthly basis, which we agreed upon. Special meetings may be held as necessary and may be called by the chair with concurrence of 3 other members. Persons calling a special meeting shall fix the time and location for the meeting. We did have some discussion around special meetings and work groups and things of that nature last month. Notice and access to meetings. Notice of all meetings shall be given to the city recorder, all members and ex officio members in accordance with the Oregon state law on open meetings. And will, and with the American
open law, it's in the bylaws.
That I think goes back to, we can't just have meetings as a group, without notifying
If there's more than,
more than 3.
yes,
Or
and I think you've called anything less than that
A special.
work groups. or
Mhm.
work-
Subcommittee, up to three.
Subcommittee.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, as long as you don't have a quorum, then you don't have to call a special meeting, it can just be, you've got three of you meeting for coffee or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is a good segue to Article 6, which is subcommittees. And the note here, so check quorum, slash open meeting rules as applying to subcommittees. We had, as I mentioned, some discussion around this, which Lori alluded to. I don't think I need to really go through all of them unless we want to review again. That was it.
So just the one article that we'll probably never have to do anything with, is the only one that needs a little bit of change.
And the addition to, do we say quarterly or monthly report to the city council?
I think
Quarterly.
portable.
Definitely quarterly, okay, okay. That sounds good, I approve.
Read this message.
And then, if we do, to the mayor's point, if we do have, kind of a busy period of time where we do want to potentially engage with the city council more, I'm sure we can do so on an ad hoc basis.
Always welcome, yeah. Well, and if you're not working, doing on major things, then the ex officio can just take that back and say, they're playing cards, all the meetings going on.
Yeah.
So,
Protect the stolen night.
You never know.
I know.
And then Jacqueline, I believe you had an item last month that we potentially wanted to look at adding. It again would be something most commissions, or I don't think any commission has, and that's a statement surrounding diversity, equity, inclusion, goals or targets, or just some verbiage around our mantra as a group.
I just sent an email and I should have proposed specific language. I was thinking something as simply as when we look at the membership, so if you go back up. Saying something along the lines of. So no more than 2 members may reside outside of city limits. The committee will endeavor to align the demographics of membership with the demographics of the people that we serve. So a very simple statement that is meant to be taken practically, because there are other things we're balancing, like we want to make sure that we have someone who's a business owner, et cetera, but that we would give some nod to the developing, evolving demographics of our community and look at ourselves and acknowledge where we might have opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, about it.
Okay, if I might, can I read back what I wrote down to make sure? Words are everything here, right? Okay. So what I wrote down, and let me know if I got it wrong. The committee, under membership, add a sentence. The committee will endeavor to align membership with the demographics of the community or the city of North Plains. I wasn't sure what.
Community
North Plains community.
and committee could be commission.
So let's see, the commission, yeah, sorry, thank you. Wow, my head is still stuck in prior to January 1. Yeah, seriously, from the senior center basement to now. Wow. Totally. Okay, so the commission will endeavor to align membership with the demographics of the, okay, so actually, what I would suggest is mentioning specifically, since this is a city body providing recommendations to city council, that it like it's the demographics of the city
The
within the
city.
city limits.
Mhm.
Okay, okay.
Yes, I think that's fair.
Okay, so then I have membership align, the commission will endeavor to align membership with the demographics of the city of North Plains community.
And again, the city the council will review this again, this final version, and if they have feedback, they will be able to give that feedback to us.
We welcome feedback.
Very good.
We would love to have adopted the city's policy directly, or theirs directly, but.
We'll sneak it into commission bylaws instead.
Okay, great. Any additions that we didn't discuss this evening then?
No, we put a lot of work into this and Bill has too, so much appreciated.
Thank you, Bill.
My pleasure.
All right, excellent. I believe we'll, all the work we've done this evening.
We need to make the changes in the adoption.
We need to approve the proposal of the changes, or do we need to potentially draft the changes and then approve those?
However you want to do it. there's-
I guess what I would say is, I think let's try to get this done tonight.
Yeah.
And so I guess what I would say is, perhaps you entertain a motion, where, tell you what, this is what I'm gonna do. Let me read to you succinctly what you have put together here, Mike.
Okay.
The changes you put
the
to
bylaws
approve
with
the
those-
bylaws with these specific,
Okay.
yes.
I will entertain a motion after that.
After that, well, just to be official, I will note that it was confirmed that you will report quarterly to council in whatever manner, written or in person, and that's as in the bylaws. In terms of recommending to council, the recommendation of removal of a member, adding the phrase, or actions deemed contrary to EDC goals and or bylaws. And then the third change, the addition under membership, Article 3, the commission will endeavor to align membership with the demographics of the city of North Plains community.
I will make a motion to approve the bylaws with the changes that Bill just read to us.
All those in favor of approving the bylaws with the recommended changes? Say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to the changes?
Thank you.
Excellent.
Did you second?
Jackie-
Jackie second.
Jackie
Okay,
second, yeah.
good to hear.
Mhm.
It's a gavel moment.
Now jump back to our second item of unfinished business. Work plan and roadmap for the next 6 months. Bill, do you by chance have the roadmap handy?
Is it not on the agenda?
No,
Oh.
you guys can, make your little move to kick me out of here now. And the first one ever.
I motion to give Gloria Britt.
So what?
Yeah, we talked-
Committee.
Did you say raise?
Did I? I don't know. I didn't.
Because I did have to get it from our communications director, because I couldn't find the most recent one.
Yeah.
And I ended up with that one and the original one that Bill put together, and neither one of them made it into the package. Go figure.
I could do some digging as well.
Oh, I will be impressed, Eric.
Yeah, way back in the archives.
Wow, how
Yeah.
long ago was that?
I was putting this together when I just. And
Oh, goodness. I guess I can check too.
Business development. Project.
I have one from March 2022.
There we go.
there's an
Right
April
here.
April
Yeah.
20. There you go,
Oh,
that's
Bill's
it.
got something. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now I gotta share the screen, make it official.
Oh, yeah, that way people can see what we're talking. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Color coordinated.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll go ahead and start with the goals and we can drill down from there. And we can break it down into potentially some of the actions we want to take or things we want to focus on in the next 6 months. So really until the fall, September. So we're focusing on downtown revitalization, North Plains to Stream business growth, Glencoe corridor revitalization, and the UGB expansion. I'm looking very high level at all of these. As one, the UGB, we spent a pretty considerable amount of time on. The Glencoe corridor revitalization essentially has hit a speed bump that has, I guess, prevented us from engaging in that project for the most part.
Au contraire.
Ooh,
Oh,
Oh.
bring us good news, Bill.
breaking news, you never go read that.
No.
We have the grounds.
And well, I don't have a date. No, I do not have a date for construction of new buildings. No, but we have continued to move forward. So an environmental consulting firm just wrapped hazmat testing in each of the structures on the Glencoe Opportunity Area property. And as soon as those test results come back and they write up their report, we will move right into quickly getting somebody on board to for abatement for removal of those materials well before May, so that we can have all the existing buildings raised. And in the meantime, we're working towards other things for the project to be built, but we're moving forward with steps we would have to do anyway.
Okay. For the new members of the commission, the Glencoe opportunity area that we're discussing is essentially from the old, I'm going to use landmarks instead of road. The old gas station that's vacant across the street from Sequoia all the way to the street, yeah, right before the four-way stop, and there is a street that kind of goes downhill into some of the newer homes. That area
The
that
Caber.
has 1 or 2 properties on it currently, but those are vacant. The city purchased that land with the plan of working with developers to develop this concept of grocery and different design opportunities have arisen, and we've been somewhat in the know on some of the updates and plan on engaging as much as we can, kind of as it picks up speed.
Can I ask, was there funding support for the brownfield or for the cleanup? I know that was something we talked about, potentially a grant.
Business Oregon.
Great question. Yeah, so Business Oregon Brownfield Fund is paying for 80% of the hazmat testing. Probably as it turns out, they have a much more sequential process than we before we understood some of the site costs to be as more of an effort than we knew what the issues were about the site. Let's be clear about that. And the city did all of its due diligence and understood that there were some issues with the property from an environmental perspective, and that's why it has sat vacant, continues to. And the city council, wearing the urban they're also the directors of the Urban Renewal Agency. The URA, knowing about the issues with the site, decided to purchase the property for a redevelopment because it was just going to sit vacant or be further deteriorating rental houses if not. The issue is that the types of uses on the site have the types of uses we want, and the businesses who are still interested have site location and visibility and development plan details to them that we have to figure out how to do that best so that we minimize some of the costs of dealing with the soil underneath. So the bottom line is that the process of figuring all of that out is ending up being kind of more of a sequential process, kind of given what the uses are and some of the issues involved. So is what it is. It's the world we live in. But yes, Business Oregon is helping us with that. When the time comes for some kind of major cleanup, depending on how development has to occur there, they do have a low interest and in some cases forgivable, or some cases no interest, some cases even forgivable loan program for this sort of thing. But we'll get there.
For the sake of this evening's conversation, do you foresee this group being involved much in the next 6 months on that project?
Oddly enough, I think so I don't necessarily know that this committee is going to be able to do anything directly in the next 6 months, but for this site. But here's what I will say. The site actually really has two problems with it. There are costs to removing the soil because of past DDT use that end up being expensive because it all has to be trucked off and disposed of at cost. The other problem is that North Plains is viewed by the retail development market as risky and lease rates are too low. If North Plains had a stronger retail market on the Glencoe corridor, the cost wouldn't be as big of a deal. So I think this body could probably indirectly, well, all that is to say, I think this body could indirectly help make the Glencoe Opportunity Area project come to fruition sooner by having some kind of role or work plan that involves marketing the Glencoe corridor, the growth of the community, marketing the city, marketing the Glencoe corridor, and bringing interest and potential investment to it. That helps. If lease rates, if lease rates were a bit higher and more like newer areas and not too far away in Hillsborough and elsewhere, the costs wouldn't be as big of an obstacle. It's kind of a two-part. But I can't do any. I can only try to find money to clean up the soil. I can't do anything about the lease rates, and I'm not here to try to make anybody's lease rates more expensive. But if the retail market viewed North Plains in a less risky manner,
because I know the grocery store was in the talks before. Were they not going to be owner? Like, why would they not be owner going into it themselves? Like, stay in it.
well, they would still long-term lease the dirt underneath.
Okay. Got it.
Bill, when I listened to what you just said, the work.
Can you pull your microphone up, please, Jacqueline? Thank you.
Is the work you just mentioned, they'll fit in the next column under?
Great observation. I think it does, and I think you'd kill a few birds with one stone in a way.
Moving into that work.
The UGB or the constrained business growth?
And as I look at what's through number 1 through 5, we might end up wanting to change how that one's titled. So what I heard Bob, Bill say is Nickname.
The bills.
A marketing plan, rebranding, that's less than constrained business growth and more about
Business development.
business development and positioning. So I wonder if we might reconsider the frame of the word.
Yeah. Training workshops, SWOT workshops, rebranding, marketing plan, yeah, it's all very business development. Which specifically, I know that arose in that column in particular because we were driving towards fixing some of the constraints with business growth. But if we're essentially now incorporating Glencoe corridor into that, then it can be expanded to more general. Kind of your point, right? Like generalize it a bit more to just business development versus constrained business growth.
And if we look ahead and we assume that the inevitable goodness of the UGB extension will occur, well, then we don't have constraint. We have, what's the problem then that we're trying to solve?
So
Looking ahead.
if I might, just to kind of get the whole idea of branding, marketing, that sort of thing. I can tell you right now what we're lacking that I think you all could contribute to greatly, and reframing the second one would be a good idea, because I don't necessarily think North Plains, I think things are turning around, the economy is getting better, all the COVID stuff is gone, so we're kind of past the real, our businesses are in jeopardy or not anymore, you know, and thankfully most of our businesses are still here, and we've been adding businesses. But the anecdote I tell is that when I was a consultant, every few years I would go to every other year. So I would go to the big retail conference in Las Vegas in May, ICSC. And smaller communities would have their marketing materials to say, we're a great place for investment. Now, granted, a lot of these communities are in states that had sales tax, and so that's a gigantic deal. So you spend a lot of money on marketing because when you get businesses that generate sales tax, the return is huge. So it's a different world we live in. But I do think in a North Plains way, North Plains could market itself as the next great, currently a great place to do business, but the next place, you know, well recognized as a growing place to do business. And that marketing effort helps all businesses in the city. And we just, you know, we kind of don't have that. And that would be a great thing for you all to kind of chew on and work on. Truly.
So then it sounds like we want to consolidate columns 2 and 3 into potentially a single column. Although looking at the next 6 months, I guess, are we looking to revise this roadmap or repurpose it to just focus on what we can in the next 6 months and adjust through that lens? Mostly a question for the group or whoever might have.
Probably been a good place to start. Like, what are we looking at? We are
Yeah.
looking at updating this to reflect our 2024 plan, or we're worried that we can't even go to the end of the year. We just want to get to the next 6 months.
Yeah, I think we want to make it more digestible in what we can do in the next 6 months instead of 12.
Okay.
Because when we do go through exercises such as this, where we're trying to be as forward thinking as possible, we ultimately run into situations like this where we might miss the mark on one, or there's too many variables at play.
So we expected to check all these voices by the end of in 6 months time. Is this what we need or So that we can have very quantifiable that
Yeah,
in the next 6 months, what do we expect to achieve?
exactly. And I think that would help guide us work toward. In the past, we've been a bit, lost, for lack of a better term, on what we're really driving towards and trying to achieve as a group. We'll kind of shift our focus month to month. And so we're looking for ways to,
We are.
to your point, like quantify what we're working on. And some of our actions and achievements. And then also just like give us a better vision of things we can actually work towards each month that we meet and in between meetings.
Here's almost what I'm thinking. All right, so we have our roadmap and maybe it needs to be updated since it is 2 years old at this point.
Mhm.
But maybe what we need to do is just throw out a list of things that we could target to do in the next 6 months that would at least support some of the high level areas running across the top.
Yeah, like action items.
The action items, like, okay, subcommittee to work on a marketing, plan for business. Russ mentioned, Counselor Sheldon mentioned last time to actually go do that small business outreach in the city and actually implement that. We've been talking about it for years.
Yeah.
That we could do that in the next 6 months and that would support downtown, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's maybe what I'm thinking is some things like that, a list of things like that, that we really can manage in the next 6
Smart
months.
goals.
Yeah, yeah, smart.
Specific, measurable,
Achievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a reason why we all use them. But if we put down SMART goals and we just say, hey, over the next 6 months, we are going to achieve this. We are gonna put together a marketing plan or a marketing packet that includes digital collateral, physical collateral. And then just keep going down the list and just be very specific. So I think what our next item is, come up with 3 SMART goals that we can achieve in the next 6 months. Three is a great number.
And think about who would be on those subcommittees.
Yeah.
For those goals.
Marketing, not me. I worked in marketing, not me.
Well, that there is an investment being made in the website. Can you remind us like where that is and what's available to this group? So you said digital. Is there someone just sitting and waiting for requirements or content?
On the new website, the new city website. I mean, sort of. So we have converted over to a new website. It does allow for different types of new content to be added. I think it's just a matter of when you all are ready to have something or want to spearhead going in a direction, then we coordinate with our communications manager on that.
I think a good goal for tonight would be we don't have to come up with the SMART goals, but let's come up with the topics and then break into subcommittees. And then that subcommittee needs to meet before our next meeting. They can identify what the SMART goal is, bring it back to the group, and then we can start working on it.
I like it.
Cool. Good old doer brain.
Get it done. And do we want to pull from the 3 columns? So downtown revitalization, North Plains, we'll say business development, and then UGB expansion. There's probably gonna be some crossover between all three. Okay, so let's start downtown revitalization.
Yeah, and I'll throw, and maybe the goal is outreach to businesses with the chamber. That's kind of our topic area
Yeah.
that I propose.
So then, Chris. Sorry, remind me, we're looking to establish who would be on the subcommittees for each of these. Okay,
Subcommittee. So tonight's just about subcommittees, and then the subcommittees will meet before our next meeting, design their SMART goal, and then bring it back to the group. I would love to have, for efficiency purposes, Lisa, would you be interested in being on the downtown
Yes, yes, I would. Well, just for context, I helped with the, a short standing committee that worked on the downtown project. Yeah. Yep, okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, anyone have any, for all three topics, so downtown revitalization, which, again, to clarify, downtown is.
Yep.
Myrtle
Okay.
Street
This was great.
from essentially
Association.
Gordon, a little further.
Yes.
So we can talk about that too.
Gordon to, roughly City Hall. I don't think we're going past
313.
313.
There's a
Are we
business
including-
past there. There's those businesses on the corner.
Are we
So
including?
Glencoe, right? To Glencoe. Yeah, the
That'll be-
intersection.
Okay,
For downtown?
Yeah.
the food
because
trucks.
The food, that, yeah. No,
Well,
you
we
don't
may,
think so?
we may need to expand because initially we stopped at.
Old rusty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think what I would do is just somehow be inclusive of at Glencoe, because we're soon going to be getting a development app. Actually, we're reviewing an application for homes with an ADU in the back on what's left of vacant land on the north side of commercial. And so you're going to have this big residential break. So I define it however you like. I would include the businesses up closer to Glencoe, but I don't know that I would necessarily call the whole of commercial. But up to you. It's up to you.
Yeah, and that can be up to the subcommittee. as well.
Okay.
Just for the sake of, kind of level setting what we're talking about when we talk about downtown.
And Mr. Chairman, is it possible for those of us who are relatively new, to have like a month, for that town, the Glenwood area?
Yes.
The Glenwood corridor.
Yep.
I think we can come up with that. Yes,
Yeah, I
yes,
think we have to.
yes.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at some of the downtown visuals that we looked at before as well.
Mhm.
We have a shared folder.
We haven't been great about using it, but we do.
We did that one, no. I don't remember the last time.
That might be a nice thing to circulate, so as new.
Yeah.
Or we kind of recollect some of our, so we know where to put our bylaws. Once we.
Yep.
once we're-
Actually, I should ask, is there an official place that we could store them? We created a Google folder for our committee.
Unless that's not allowed, and then that's a hypothetical.
If it's allowed, great, we'll keep going.
There is no drive.
Right, then
Destroy
that
the
doesn't
elevator.
exist.
Probably. I don't see why we can't.
Unless we-
Can't let them use it on the Google, is that what you, or what, put it on put it on our.
Yeah, something along those lines, yeah. We will look into it. I mean, there's no objection to the idea.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just a matter of practically speaking, how would it work?
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, sweet.
Okay, so we came up with a couple of ideas, marketing to support maybe Glencoe opportunity area, the constrained business. We came up with the outreach with chamber related to downtown. Is there a third area that there's something concrete we could do in the next 6 months?
Should we get those two done? That's even good.
Yes.
Three's always.
But wait, but there's 7 of us, so we need to have another committee.
That's true.
Oh, no, that's, yes, yes,
We need to have 3 or fewer
yes,
members on subcommittees.
yes.
So we, could do 2 and someone could just bow out. Or we. We'll do 3.
Let's do three.
Okay,
It, at the very least, it just helps with the brainstorming.
I'm gonna go to downtown.
Okay, so Chris and Lisa, just make.
Yep.
Can you project like some hypothetical, timing, actually not hypothetical, what's your best guess at UGB timing?
Mhm.
Of when that's gonna get, let's say it's moving forward. do we have one representative who's then helping to shape the next phase of planning? Like there's an outline drawn,
Mhm.
but now, I think we had a member here
I
who
Pat.
unpack that would then. So are we assuming that that might happen in the next 6 months? So as you're delegating your time,
Right.
it's gonna be dictated by what's going on there and hopefully gonna hit a phase, but we won't be running off doing independent work.
Mhm.
Is that right?
So the state, we got an update recently. ODOT is just waiting for legal to approve the grant and scope and contract language for the comprehensive planning effort that, that's a process, but that money's still there, the project's still there. We will have an advisory committee formed, we'll have a technical advisory for that, committee formed for that. The EDC is named as one of the bodies that will have a member on it. I would hope it's kicking off no later than May, but it doesn't have anything to do timeline wise with the UGB adoption process with the county and the state. It's a grant that's been earmarked and it's just a matter of moving forward. And so in the next 6 months, that will absolutely be happening.
So I guess.
Yeah.
We would obviously want. Whoever's representing the EDC in that effort to be on our UGB goal setting meeting. Or subcommittee, I should say. But is that potentially, that is the goal, is to contribute to that?
Is it just that, what else would it be beyond that? That's the next major milestone that's
Yeah.
particularly important to us is how is the industrial commercial property coming together?
The only addition to that then I would bring up is just like a information campaign and helping the communication of the UGB expansion process and some of the things that have been going on already in terms of engaging with the community on the process, not just within that pack. Which could still, I guess, fall under the same scope or goal.
But
Can I interject something here?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think with the, if this body appoints, one person from this body to be actually on that committee, great. But I think collectively, the entire body needs to be a part of the process to help develop, the communication or then be able to disseminate that information out to the community because, you just don't want to say, oh, well, that group's got it all under control. Like everyone is going to have to buy in and be a part of that communication piece that will be essential to the success of getting information back to the community. I didn't mean to stop the conversation.
No, I'm not thinking through that.
Their wheels are
That
turning.
makes a lot of.
Yeah,
I'm mostly thinking now about, if one member is a representative,
Right.
then it's the full commission's charge.
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Yes,
it's the full
agreed.
commission's charge.
So in that case, and I was joking earlier, but if, for example, myself was on that
Mhm.
project advisory committee,
Yeah,
I can lead that and be the conduit between this group and that effort. And then we would have 2 subcommittees of 3
yeah.
for the other.
Yeah.
topics. Yep, so in other words, our
I'm okay.
volunteers could be.
Oh, okay. It's our working day.
Perfect.
That's not, yeah, that sounds reasonable.
My wife, I'd stop volunteering.
Hey, you got a couple of months. Potentially, maybe.
Yeah, no, man.
Right.
Number of
Well,
things.
In that
Anyways.
case, I would say, I think it would be great so Chris and I volunteered for the downtown one. I think it'd be great to have maybe one of the newer
Yeah,
members be with us.
Interject, Nina, but Amy, I think you being a part of the business development part would be great. Instead of focusing on an area that your business isn't associated with per se.
I agree.
Okay.
So then, David, are you good working with this team on the downtown portion?
Okay, that makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
Jacqueline, you might, and Amy, will be working on those.
Yeah.
Business development, what you that.
And you're the marketing.
That one.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
I'll do any, I'll design any marketing materials or hand out, print or digital or whatever, design.
Could you take the lead on, like we said, can you take the lead in pulling us together and so of the 3 years.
But I have your number. I'll find you if I have to.
Okay.
You can find that.
My wife probably wants to.
And it's 30 is.
I want to
spring
get
break,
what's
so
going
yeah,
out
so
from the
next one.
EDC in the newsletter.
Mhm.
Spring break.
Mhm.
And it can be, it can certainly cover images. They could even be, the subcommittees have a rotating message.
I can assist anybody that needs.
Oh, they're doing it. You can,
Prefer to have an email
spoonful of
go out
sugar,
to your
but
subcommittee.
medicine's going down.
City, I'm happy to do that. If you guys want to do it amongst yourselves, that's fine as well. Whatever. Can I interject something else? And I'll put you on the spot. So as you work through this process and these goals and that sort of thing, community engagement, is extremely important, and feedback and communication, all that is extremely important. And I would definitely encourage this group to, if there's a writer in this group that wants to do this, but having, a news article, in the newsletter, either on a monthly or quarterly basis, is extremely important. Because again, it's your voice, this body's voice, into the community, and letting them know, hey, this is what we're working on. And, you can be a part of this, and this is exciting, et cetera, et cetera. So I would really encourage this group to step up and say, okay, we're gonna do a newsletter article every other month or every 3 months, whatever.
And just and I'm happy to coordinate with you on writing that. I don't want it to sound like all this stuff's piling on all of you, because this is a lot. But when the time comes to coordinate with Lori on the and Corinne on the newsletter, I'll work with you on that.
I had a question about that. Who would the newsletters, and I'm thinking about the conversation we had at the beginning, that there is controversy around some of this. Would it be just like on behalf of the committee? Would it be on behalf, Eric Lawson? It's like-
I honestly think, I personally would say that I think it could be something along the lines of, from the Economic Development Commission.
Yeah.
Just hypothetically, May 1 begins the urban growth boundary concept planning process, and these workshops are coming up for you and your neighbors to come and learn and dialogue with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Is what I would say.
Yeah, I like that. Could we circulate, Lori, again, maybe everyone's name, phone number, and email?
I actually have a sheet with everybody that's on the board that has all of that, so I will
Okay.
forward it to all of you tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll send you the agenda. Alternatively, it's also possible to have like a call in the North Lake, anytime when I see my WhatsApp doing that.
Uh-huh,
I think that's, is that?
that is.
Yeah.
I can't hear.
That's it.
Yep.
Is
Yeah.
the water bill the newsletter?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, or you can, I think we're getting ready, you can get it electronically.
Yes.
Will we do
right?
the,
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
We could maybe even, get a post on Instagram.
We can talk to Corinne.
yeah, we do have,
What about this?
yes. Yes,
Yes.
I can see that. I can see our Instagram account being a fantastic tool for that, yes.
Cool.
So everybody go
The bio.
connect to the city on Instagram.
How you doing right now?
Yes,
And the newsletter.
and
I think
cat
Eric and I are
videos.
the only ones.
Really?
Hopefully
Two
they're-
followers. Eric Lawson.
In the water bill newsletter and somehow circulated
My son follows that.
and or digital.
Yeah, it's emailed as well.
He
It
likes
can,
Oh, right.
it can be emailed
State
as
and
well,
city.
to be subscribed, yes.
Sweet.
Okay, so just circling back real quick as we wind down here, the goal for the April meeting will be to meet as subcommittee. So
Mhm.
downtown revitalization will be Lisa, Chris, and David. The business development focus will be Jacqueline, Mike, and Amy. And then I will be.
Somehow I skated through, didn't you?
I'll send a meeting invite.
But it's just him doing UGB.
And-
It's just him doing UGB.
Record it too.
Because-
So. Eric,
But it's just him. There's no
That's it.
subcommittee.
No,
Lisa, I think I have like literally a folder of some original documentation we collected on needs.
Oh, yeah.
But I may reach out, or can we kind of look at what's in that folder and make sure? 'cause
The non-existent folder.
The non-existent folder.
Yeah.
To make sure that.
Hear
we're
about Larry.
starting with what we know.
No problem.
or have gaps. Just passing that on.
So we'll meet as a group, we'll establish SMART goals. SMART goal.
for smart growth.
A SMART goal.
Do you want to say what the acronym is again? Not everybody knows.
Measurable, attainable, relatable, results,
Realistic, right?
realistic,
Is that what it is?
and
I
Time
coached
bound,
on this
time
and
bound.
I could.
Time bound's the most
I
important one.
coached on this week. I could send a slide out.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Do that before we meet as a subcommittee. Yes.
If Lori sends out everyone's email address.
Okay.
I will respond.
Okay.
Smart goal.
Slide.
Excellent.
And they'll be the check.
that's in my YouTube assessment. Hello. I'm not saying this because the mayor and you, these are here, but we're absolutely firing on all cylinders.
They're here.
Yeah,
Okay, and then we'll bring the goal back to the group next month.
yes.
We'll review it, as a team, as well as, ask questions, vet those goals. And then from there, we'll be, more commitments to like an action plan to achieve them.
Do you want us to edit what's here? Because this is like, some of it's old, or we just, this would be here for inspiration.
It was your, at least,
I feel inspired.
Okay.
Yeah, right, this was here for inspiration, and yeah, it wasn't intended for you to be too much of a script to operate off of, because things have changed. I mean, so.
yeah. Perfect. Any go backs to subcommittees, SMART goals, things we want to rehash or discuss further?
If I might, as you meet and work through things, for the topic of your subcommittee, please jot down topics where you feel a guest speaker. We can get guest speakers on different topics. And so to kind of help you learn and get some information. So yes, please note that and then bring it to us and we'll coordinate that.
We get a list of like like the groups and who's in the group, maybe their contact information. we can send it.
Yeah. Lori will send that out tomorrow. In our group or all groups?
Oh, like each group, like what the group title is,
Oh, I
who's in
got
that
you.
group,
I
and then
got
the
you.
contact.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then I'll probably do this at the end of, each meeting if it's fine with the business owner, but shameless plug, tonight's Snow Way Wednesday. So head on in, get a cup of yo. For a cool flat rate on yogurt and toppings, as long as it stays below the rim.
That is correct.
Excellent. Well done.
Same.
I smash it down.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Oh dear.
I'm gonna do it 7-Eleven where you can put as much yogurt in whatever container. you want.
Oh, yeah.
That would be so bad.
Next meeting should be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah, we
Well,
should have a field
our
trip this
subcommittee
summer.
meeting.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Love it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't think I didn't think about bringing yogurt.
Yeah. It is never discouraged.
Lactose intolerant and I'll still go for it. Oh, I still go for it, the regular guy.
Ex officio, Ms. Mary Terry, thank you for being here. Do you have any parting wisdom, things you wanna?
I just want to give, kudos, to the mayor for making some serious pick, you know what, appointments to this commission.
Yeah. Probably the most fun. Don't hurt yourself.
I need to go to the chiropractor now.
That one in town. Should go visit.
Also fun.
We do, no, you know, we had just council meeting, I just, pretty high level, it was a light agenda. We do have an MOU with the Tualatin River Watershed Commission regarding, beavers, right? So, we have historically had a lot of beavers in the Ghost Creek. They are beloved, but we have approved an MOU with the Tualatin River Watershed just so that we can use them as a resource. If we do need to have some additional insight and aid and that sort of thing to navigate and to manage that, because our public works crew, they're so busy, and it's really nice to be able to work with a team of people who actually have expertise in that field. You know, we've had some folks, I've actually had some folks approach me and say, well, can we kill them? And I'm like, seriously, that's what you're gonna do, right? So it's really nice to be able to have a good resource for that. And again, a light agenda this past Monday, and the other topic that we talked about at City Council. And we're having Rowan, our Rare AmeriCorps volunteer work tours, and they've done an amazing job, is the downtown welcome sign on the corner of Glencoe and Commercial. Thank you. It's a beautiful rendition of like the train and some of the buildings downtown, the library, Knights Hall, community garden, last watering hole, and then a building that depicts the future, right? And then the sunset. So it's really the Allison McClary, who has already done the murals downtown. She will be working on the rendition as well. So Rowan has put a lot of effort and a lot of time and effort into it. And so we're really excited to be able to replace the current sign. Eventually we'll replace the current sign with this sign. So that was something else that we were able to talk about and move forward with at City Council on Monday. And I think just, you know, I'm I'm just so excited for this group, this commission, and the direction that you are taking with this commission. I think it's my 15 and a half, well, 18 years of living in North Plains. You know, this is a first, and you guys literally, I know we've had some good laughs about Trailblazers, you know, being a Trailblazers this evening, but you are. And I just want to say, keep going, you know, keep that train moving forward, because your insight and experience and expertise is going to be essential to the future of North Plains and the residents of North Plains. So I'm just excited to see where you take this commission and where you take the community. You know, and in addition, like I said earlier, communication is extremely important. And just stay engaged, stay involved, and, you know, call BS when you see it. I'm just gonna say, you know, be direct about that. There's a lot of controversy brewing. And, you know, at the end of the day, in heart of hearts, we're all in this to try to make this a better community now and then in the future. So kudos to you. Thank you very much, especially with our new commissioners, for stepping up and being a part of this amazing group. So I've had a good time tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay, anything else from the group before we adjourn here?
Speaking of controversy, how serious is this dispensary? I heard, might be. Yeah.
They're going to a neighborhood meeting, so they wouldn't spend the money on that process if they weren't serious enough. So, actually, if I might, and not to extend this, but since your UGB committee is one person, Eric, I got the okay from Andy to share this information with you today, and that is that Senate Bill 1526, we haven't talked about it. So Senate Bill 1526 is now over in the House in the Oregon legislature, and it should be passed fairly easily by the House on to the governor. And that bill designates North Plains as Oregon's semiconductor city. Right now, since 2002, North Plains, we discovered this was lost to the sands of time. We rediscovered this. North Plains has been the state's e-commerce city since 2002, but it was lost a long time ago by the city years ago. We worked through the process to update and add the ability of the city to also be the semiconductor city for the state. And what it basically means is that the city can choose to offer an enterprise zone-like property tax exemption program to a narrow range of businesses that do R&D, manufacturing, or are direct supply chain to semiconductor within the city of North Plains. And it's only the city of North Plains. Hasn't been signed by the governor yet, but it's looking very good. So I think the April meeting will be very interesting.
That should probably be part of it.
1526.
And did you say the as in the only?
The only.
So this skips us ahead of Hillsborough or Pineville.
From the state's perspective, well, since, like I said, since 2002, it's been in statute that North Plains is the state's e-commerce city.
Good find.
But it fell off.
I dug this up.
Wow.
Amazing.
So, like,
Wow.
And
Bonus.
I don't know about that, but let's just put it this way: the April meeting is going to be interesting. But the bottom line here is, so that's something that, you know, we get to choose to implement a program that gives that type of enterprise zone like program for that range, that, you know, it's pretty narrow. Other types of businesses wouldn't qualify, and it's kind of by the legislature's designation that we get to do this. If it goes to the governor and gets signed. So again, it's not on the governor's desk yet, but it's darn close.
But
So,
other businesses do not qualify.
well, I think you probably read in the newspaper about the evil of data centers. You know, that's a controversial topic. Some like them a lot, some don't like them. A data center wouldn't qualify. A general contractor who does construction for Intel maybe, but also does other types of construction, not really, no. I mean, this would need to be direct supply chain and the firms themselves that do the semiconductor R&D and or manufacturing. So at the end of the day, how successful is it in helping us attract those businesses? Who knows? But yeah,
It's nice to have that designation.
yes, it is. So there's a lot of thinking and implementation thought if and when it does get signed. So.
Thank you, Bill. Anything else? Okay, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting, 7:36 p.m. Have a great night, everyone. Oh, that was the latest we've done.
Oh dear.
Once they mention.